Fellow producers, how's it going today? In this video, I'll be making or attempting to make a beat like J. Lewis. And this is one that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm just now getting to it. But I have the camera, and we're gonna go ahead and start off with some chords. I'm just gonna get Lounge Lizard. As you can tell, I already had it selected and everything. And I just like using this plugin because it has such a pure tone to it, and it makes it easier for me to kind of listen to the harmonies that I'm creating as I'm considering different progressions. So I have an idea. It was gonna be in A minor. So that's the first chord. Second chord was gonna be this right here. Third chord was gonna be this. Fourth chord was gonna be this. And that fourth chord is the same as the second one, except it has an octave, kind of extra octave note. Wait. Anyways, I'm gonna try to record this right now. So I came up with a good BPM, 106 BPM, and I will be playing the chord progression. So I kind of changed up the progression. So let me go ahead and put on the camera so you guys can see. This is what I came up with. Let me find myself on this keyboard right now. Alright, there we go. That's my idea for a progression. It's kind of jazzy, kind of R&B. What I've done is that I've transposed the chords downwards because I thought it would sound better if they were nice and more full sounding and kind of in a lower, at a lower note. And now it's in F minor, or at least this first chord is. Nice loop going there. So what I want to do is add melodies to this, or a melody I should say. I'm gonna get the Lounge Lizard one more time. I have the camera as well, so you guys can see what I'm going to be playing. And let's just experiment for a little bit. Alright, let's do that. Dang, of course I would mess up. That's so good. Now some of these are really soft sounding because I didn't hit them hard enough, so we're going to adjust the velocity with these little lines down here. Let's put on this tempo as well. I mean this metronome. I'm going to turn it down again because it's super loud. I changed the metronome to a custom one, and it's super loud, so I have to turn it down with this blue bar right here.
So I kind of messed up right there, obviously. I got carried away
So I hit that record button and then put that last part in there. So this first one, I'm gonna just leave it at 3 notes. But as you can tell right here, I added an extra one. Let me get this timing right as well. It's kind of hard. Perfect. Let me think about this. What do I want to add right now? So I'm gonna go with Omnisphere, and I'm gonna use Trillion, which is a bass guitar library. So there's the acoustic one. I don't know how this is gonna sound. And this hard drive is kind of slow. I'm gonna save this real quick to my library. So I don't lose any data, because Omnisphere loves to crash my projects. Alright, so right here we have our Chapman Stick full range. So it's an electric bass from the Trillion library, which is an expansion for Omnisphere. And I came up with a melody off camera. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to crash my live set, and so I just went off camera and let it load for a really long time. But here's what I had in mind. So I played that last note. I don't know why I just did that. That was not planned. So that's what I was trying to do right there. Yeah, let me just record this. Too fast. I don't know why I just did, because I was kind of anticipating a different chord. So let me try that again. I kind of messed up. Dang. How should I approach this chord? All right, let's do that. Let me put on the this little plus sign right here. It's gonna allow me to record. Wait, wrong button. This little plus line is gonna allow me to record over what I have right now, and it's gonna allow me to do that slide note that I just did. So I fixed that note right there. And right now everything sounds super basic, but I'm planning on doing a lot of processing to this. So if I get guitar rig, for example, and I apply it to this, we have all kinds of like effects that we can apply. Is this even gonna work right now? Oh, you gotta double click it. Super loud, but we're gonna kind of do this kind of stuff later. We're obviously not gonna find a preset that's exactly what we need, so I just wanted to show you guys that to kind of demonstrate how the sound can really be made better using effects. What happened was I accidentally deleted the omnisphere that was on my track, and not just the guitar rig, so I deleted the whole sound altogether, and that caused me to have to reload it, and that took a really long time. So I'm back now, and hopefully no dumb stuff is gonna happen again. It's getting kind of dark, so I think this is gonna be my last kind of camera recording, so I want to get this done. And there's one more melody idea that I want to do, and this is what it's gonna sound like. But I'm gonna delete this right here since we duplicated it over, and I'm gonna play it by itself. What was that? It sounded kind of weird when I played that. So that last kind of, no, I'm gonna bring it up higher. And we're gonna zoom in. So that second part again, we're gonna have to change some stuff. So we kind of flattened it, we moved it down a little bit. Let's duplicate this over. Alright, so now that we have all of this laid out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze this track, and I'm going to bounce it to audio so we don't have to keep loading Omnisphere each time I'm opening this project, and also so we can kind of challenge ourselves creatively. I'm going to keep the MIDI there, but while it's frozen we can mute this and we'll have our sounds and we can layer them and stuff. So we're gonna call this guitar low for the low melody and guitar high. So that last one, wait. That last one is kind of repeating itself right here. So I'm gonna take this, and what's cool with audio is that you can obviously transpose it. It's not gonna be as high quality as with MIDI. Just gonna do that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fade this. You know what, we're just gonna leave it like that. That's the best I can do. And I think we're done with the guitar part for now. And yeah, let me come right back when I have some sort of idea for what we can do next. Alright, so I wanted to get started on the drums before I work on the bass line, because we're going to match that up with the kick. And as you can tell, I already chose 2 samples, and these are snares, and I just copied them over. They're all on the 3rd beat of each bar, so that kind of is a typical snare pattern. So let's listen to what it sounds like. So this is each snare first of all. That's one, and this is the other. Both from the Trap Essentials kit. Now let's go ahead and listen. So decent, but I think he also layers a clap on there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to look for a nice full clap sound. This could potentially work, I think. Yeah, like something like that. Maybe we could even pitch it down to make it more full sounding and thicker, I guess. When you pitch things down, it starts to stretch, as you can tell. So we want to pitch it down a reasonable amount. That could totally work. But we can also try different ones. Definitely this one. I'm gonna keep this one. Now for the kick, I was thinking, okay, so first of all, we need something that's very snappy sounding, a kick that has a lot of sharpness to it. And the Akali kick from the Trap Essentials kit is perfect for what I'm trying to get. So what you'll notice is that his 808 sounds super hard, his whole beat sounds really hard, and it's all revolving around the kick. So he adds distortion to his kick, particularly I think saturation, and it's clipping, so it sounds super powerful compared to everything else, and it gives it that punch. So right now our kick is really basic, but it has the right tone to it, the right texture. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add saturation to it, and really saturation has something to do with like filters and stuff, but we want a hard curve, and then I'm gonna turn the bass down as in like the base of the filter. I forget how saturation exactly works, but I mess around with it enough to know how things work a little bit. I'm gonna turn down the depth, and then the frequency, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it doesn't make much of a difference. And then I'm gonna turn up the drive to about 4, so we get a really nice sharp kick before and then after, and that's like a perfect kind of start to what we want. Now what I want to do is I want to get a funk fill, as in funk music, and I'm gonna look for that in my breaks. Let's see, where do I have it? Let me look up funk. So yeah, I have like I have like 350,000 samples in my library. It's humongous. So I'm going to have to like delete some stuff. Beginning of this sample. And I'm looking for, okay, yeah, it's looking for the clip view. So we want to align this loop to our arrangement. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at this first kick right here, and then I'm gonna look at this second kick, and I'm gonna try to align this second kick to this line right here in our arrangement. You see this divider? That's where our beat is gonna be hitting. So we wanna adjust the segment BPM, which is just adjusting the clip, and we wanna move it either up or down in order to match the line. And now what I want to do is I want to extend this. I want to hit ×2. So ×2 is going to keep it in tempo, except it's going to be extra slow or extra fast depending on if you divide it or ×2. So divided by 2 is super fast, and then ×2 is super like extended. So as you can tell at the end, it starts getting messy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start taking this into my own hands. You can only rely on warping so much. Like sometimes you have to do extra work. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, and then I'm gonna adjust the BPM. As you can tell, this is the kick right here. This is the start of the loop all over again. So obviously we want that start to be a little bit further out, so that it's on this major grid line. So again, I really love Ableton because of the audio warping features. Just by moving the segment BPM, we can fix that. But as you can tell, this was kind of messed up as well. So I'm gonna have to keep doing this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place a warp marker here so that it kind of stays in place. And then I'm gonna keep fixing this. Alright, I think that's good. Perfect, we have a nice loop, kind of bootleg loop that we made. Now, as you can tell, super low quality. It's not sounding good at all because of how stretched it is. So what we can do is, the cool thing about drums is that they're one shots. That means they're not, we're kind of listening to them for the attack. We're not listening to the full drum sound. So what we can do is create a new audio track, copy this drum loop, and then divide it by 2. So it's back to about a normal speed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut at each peak. I hate using the word transient because I suck at saying it. So I'm just going to call each of these transients peaks. And each of these is one of the drums. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna align. Okay, sorry, I paused. Like, I'm so focused on production that sometimes my commentary is gonna be messed up, because it's two different processes, to be honest. Alright, so now we have this. We're gonna align each of our little peaks to the extended ones. So right here, I'm gonna move this right there, and then I'm gonna move this one right here, this one right here, this one, what am I doing? This one right here, and I'm hitting command right now while I'm dragging, and I'm holding it, and I hold it all the way through until after I've dropped the selection, and that allows me to smoothly kind of drag the clips without having them snap around. Sometimes the snap can be useful, but if we want to be really precise, we hold command to be able to have a very smooth interval when we're dragging. And you can do this kind of a thing with a drum rack as well. You can slice to a drum rack, and that'll put all of these different peaks into a playable drum rack, but I just want to manually do it because it's just more visually appealing to look at, and it makes more sense when you're looking at the arrangement. You can kind of tell what the hell is going on. Okay, this one, I need to do more work. Okay, so I hit Command 4 to turn off the grid, and now I can drag more precisely. That's another way of doing things. So I kept on skipping over these little peaks, so I'm going back. All those little lines, those dark spots, are peaks, so we have to make sure that we get those as well. All right. Oh, I gotta mute this. So this one's kind of weird at the end. And I'm gonna go from transient mode, I'm gonna go to the single arrow, and I'm gonna turn it down. Same thing with this. Okay, I'm not gonna do that to that one. So we have a basic rhythm. It's not sounding too good, but later we can kind of replace it with our own samples. Now, wherever the kick is, wherever a kick sounds good, I'm going to copy our kick. So his style is his drums are similar to funk drums. So that's why I took a funk break, so I can literally copy the pattern. Perfect. I like that. Now we want to copy this clap that we have. Right now things are sounding really awful with that broken up drum break, but I'm gonna keep it for rhythmic purposes and then replace these sounds little by little. Alright, or I can do what I just did, which is get rid of those little extra sounds in between. We're going to use it as a reference for our hi-hats and everything. Anyways, I'm going to come right back and maybe add a few inspirations and ideas to this. And then we're gonna go over them and then maybe do the hi-hats and stuff like that. So I added a couple snares in between what we had in terms of the snare pattern, and this is what it sounds like. So these two right here, and really they're just pitched up a little bit, and I kind of aligned our little drum fill sections a little bit better. And we're gonna get to work on that a little bit later, but what I wanted to add was a bass line. So as you can tell down here, we have an empty MIDI clip or a MIDI track. Of course we're gonna do the 808 eventually, but I want to start with that typical housey kind of, it's not housey, I don't know what the word is, it's kind of a deep bass. That's what I would describe it as. And for that I'm going to use my Lush preset pack for Serum. And if this doesn't work, I'll look for similar sounds in the Massive kit that I have as well. So I'm just going to record what I have in mind. I don't know why I hit that note. And now we can add in between things. So we have the basic idea. Let's move this down an octave. Okay, no, that's too low. Yeah, if I move it down an octave, it's going to be too low. Let's see how we can shape this to be a little bit better. Okay, that's good. Some detune. Alright, turn up the bend. These are just macros. I want it to sound less like a square. Alright, that's better. Sounds more like a J. Lewis sound now. Alright, so I'm gonna hit Command A, Command Shift U. We're gonna time it, I don't know, like 50%. So this is gonna Command Shift U quantizes everything. So what I want to do is I want to quantize it but keep a general swing, so I'm just going to turn it at 50% quantization. So it's going to move it halfway closer, or 50% as much as it would if it was fully quantized. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this sound because right now it's way too short, so I'm going to turn up the decay. Turn up the attack as well to leave space for that kick. Let's maybe turn up the sub. Never mind. Better lower. And another sound that we can try is I think it's called the Marlow bass. I'm not sure if this is gonna work better. Definitely works. This one's a little bit different. Sounds different than what I want it to be like, so I'm just gonna stick with what we had. Okay, so that second part I'm gonna do kind of a upwards kind of spiral. I mean melody. That note sounds kind of off. There we go. So let's extend some of these. Nice. So you hear how that glide happened? That's because I extended this and it made it overlap with the other note. Alright, so that's the bass line. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to work on the hi-hat pattern. So I have this extra audio track. I'm going to delete it for now. Actually, I'm going to make an extra one right here. We're going to use we're going to get the hi-hats from drum loops. So I've been making this huge, I've been organizing my archive of samples, and I have a ton of drum loops. I'm gonna find a good one with some hi-hats. That one's kind of cool. Sounds like a garage one, like a garage type of beat, so I'm not gonna use that one. I want one with really clear hi-hats. So we want to align this to our grid. So let me solo it. And I like that last hi-hat right there. That's good. So we're gonna chop this at every peak point, I guess. I'm gonna cut out every snare and every kick. I may speed this up. And we're gonna maybe keep the parts with the kicks and then just mute them and maybe use them as a reference for later on in the beat. so that we can place our own kicks at the same locations. So if you're trying to get this selection style of beat, it's an important part to use to reference realistic drums. Let's kind of listen to what we have. Should sound pretty cool. So a lot more up tempo. Let me lower my volume real quick because it's super loud on my headphones. Now there's gaps in between, so what we can do is get our own hi-hat sample. Let's literally just go to drum kits, Trap Essentials, wherever that is. I'm just gonna get, oh, that's a great one right there. So everywhere there's a gap, I'm just gonna place this hi-hat. We may add a different one in between as well, so like this, or copy what we have here and place it right here. Let me shape this sample a little bit better with the fades. There we go. I want to lower the volume as well because it's super loud compared to the other hi-hats. Maybe add this. And then let's keep duplicating this. Uh-oh. I like that last part right here, but for these other ones I feel like this hi-hat sample is too stands out too much. We need something more subtle. Let's turn this down. This is the one that we had, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to replace this with a different sample that we can actually get right from the straight out of the drum loop. Now this, I want to pitch it up. And then we're gonna go with the fades. Lower the volume a bit because it's so loud compared to the rest. And let's duplicate over what we have. feel like the snares are a little bit weird. Inside our chopped up drum pattern. There we go. So I might tweak this a little bit, but next up I want to design a sub bass, and I'll go over how I did that when I come back. Alright, so as you can tell, I made this track and I put the MIDI for the 808 here, but there's no sound. And like I said, we're just gonna make the 808. So we want that distorted, saturated 808. I'm gonna use massive just to make the waveform, because we can go to a sine square wavetable and we can kind of morph between the two. But for now, we're just gonna use oscillator 1. I mean, we're going to just use oscillator 1 for this sound. We're gonna turn up this level all the way so that it's more of a constant sound. Okay, so I'd recommend that you have headphones or ear pods or something in, because this is in kind of the sub ranges. So instead of it being plucky, we want the level to be up so it's a constant sound. I'm going to turn up the release as well, so there's a decent kind of tail to it. And now when we play it, we have this nice little sub to our kick. Keep in mind that I moved our other sound off to the side. As you can tell, it's right here, but right now we're just playing the 808. So obviously we want it to be more audible. So I like to get the saturator for this kind of a bass. We did this with the Carmack beat like a way long time ago. We're gonna go for a hard curve. And right off the bat, we have the 808 kind of sound. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use soft clip or DC, but I like to turn the bass down to like -4. The depth, actually, I forgot if it's the depth. I think the depth is at -4. And the bass is at like 2 or 3. And I like to turn up the drive to like 2 or so. Now, as you can tell, you're hearing this little crunchiness to the sound. Not in terms of the actual sound of the bass, but we're hearing like this clashing sound. The reason why is because I forgot to turn this into a monophonic sound, which means only one note can play at a time. So we're gonna hit monophone, we're gonna do legato, then we're gonna go to oscillator, and then we're gonna, these are just different settings, so I just know where to turn this into a single sound. And then I go to the oscillator tab because I know there's the glide tab here. And the reason why we're turning up the glide right now is because when we're gonna start overlapping the notes, we want those glides. So right now I'm just overlapping different notes and it's creating a glide. So I'm gonna demonstrate right now with the glide, with the monophone. So what I did is I went to voicing, I hit monophone, I went to legato, and then I turned up the glide. If you turn down this glide time, the glide's gonna be super fast. If you turn it up, it's gonna take a longer time to glide to the next note. But to kind of demonstrate what's going on right now with the glide, I'm gonna draw 2 notes. one like this, and then duplicate this and bring it up. And then right where they overlap, the glide is gonna start. And that's how we're gonna draw our notes to create the glides when we want to do that kind of stuff. But let's go ahead and listen to our bass line. And I added an extra note, like a low C right there. So nice and simple. And next we're gonna either do the distortion on the guitar and shape the sound and add effects and all that, chorus and all that, to make it fit better with the mix and make it sound more artistic. Or we're going to, okay, so I just got a comment, or I'm gonna add some vocals onto this, and we're gonna do some vocal layering and different stuff like that. But I'll be right back in a second. In terms of drums, I thought that it would be a good idea to add fills, because it's just so straightforward, and I feel like it's like a signature part of his style. So I'm just gonna real quickly look through some fills. In my fills kit, I have like all different types of fills, and they've been labeled by BPM, so that's the easiest way for me personally to find something. And I was thinking we need something that's it's kind of like a breakdown, so we want it to be in a kind of a different groove than what we're playing right now. I don't think that made any sense, but let's just look through. Like something like that would work perfectly. So I'm just gonna drag it out, and now we just need to choose a place where we're gonna put it. So right where that snare goes, or not that snare, but where the drums, the hi-hats go, I think I'm gonna put it right there. Now as you can tell, it's not warped, and we can tell that the BPM is 116 by the title. So I'm gonna hit the warp button, and I'm gonna drag this until it's at 116. And then when we drag it out, it's gonna be in tempo. So let's go ahead and listen to this. So as you can tell, it's a little bit quiet. I'm gonna turn up the volume. Now what you're gonna notice is that it doesn't really fit too well. It kind of stands out too much. It's too full sounding. And I mean, it could work, but what I like about Ableton is with the beats mode, you can actually take the transients, which are all the peaks, and you can actually cut them short, cut the actual whole sample short. So when I do this and I turn down this 100% and I turn it down from 100%, it's gonna start shortening it. And this is gonna make it sound a lot more artificial, and it's gonna fit into our our drums, which are a little bit fake sounding, but at the same time kind of real, if that makes any sense. Instead of having the full break, we're gonna do something like that, and I'm gonna add some compression just so that we can hear those peaks better. I'm not gonna have too much makeup gain in there. I'm gonna have like 1 dB. We wanna let like 12 or like 8 milliseconds of attack so we can really hear those peaks. Turn up the release, the ratio to like 3, and then I guess we'll put up the decibels to like 4. Why is it so low? I should do like -12. So this is with the compression, and this is without. A little bit sharper with the compression and a bit quieter. So I'm gonna turn up the gain a little bit, maybe to like 4. everything sounds a little bit sharper. Maybe if I turn up the attack to like 10, it'll be more clear. Alright, anyways, that's good enough. It should work. Again, we don't want it to be too loud overall. So perfect, it kind of fits in just how we want it to. And if we choose to move it around, it'll still work. We can put it at a different location. And it just really fits that J. Lewis style. So right now I have the auto-tune plugin. The one that I'm using is the Waves Tune real-time plugin. That means it's going to auto-tune things in real time as I'm recording and as I'm playing back stuff. I have a glue compressor to bring up the volume, and then I have some reverb. And this is my vocal chain. Hopefully we can come up with something good, yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, let's listen to that. So that third one is kind of messed up. I'm just gonna copy the first "will you" and put it right there. I'm gonna turn up the decay time on this reverb. I'm gonna change it to echo mode. You know what? I'm gonna use a different reverb, like when we're in the mixing stage. You know what I want? I want to add an auto filter. This is so trash right now, but I'm doing the best I can with my voice. I don't want to use an acapella because there's a very specific style to these vocals. It's like reverby and it has just this extended style to it, I guess. I'm gonna turn up the note transition so it's not so abrupt, and the note speed just a little bit. And now I'm going to record a second part. So let me come up with something. Alright, so what I wanted to add next was so I added vocals and all that, so we're gonna put those to the side. These two pink tracks are the vocal tracks, and I'm gonna name them real quick. Oops. And what I wanted to do was add a drum, a beatboxing kind of part. It's not gonna be too crazy. It's gonna be kind of like low key and not really up front in the mix, but it's going to add a little bit of rhythm to our whole arrangement. So let me just record something. So that's good enough, and we can just keep repeating that. I'm gonna try that one more time because I want that to be a little bit louder, the snare. A little bit better. That kick though was a little bit Okay, anyways, as you can tell, I have the auto pan. I'm gonna turn that off. And we're gonna shape this a little bit better. So I'm gonna add a warp marker at each little transient. And then we're gonna use Ableton's warping to just align it way nicer to our grid. All right. So this is gonna, let me turn off this, actually we kind of need, no, we don't really need the metronome. Let's line this a little bit better. Let's get this first little peak right at the front, and we're gonna put this into the single arrow mode. We're gonna repeat what we have right here. It's a little bit loud, so I put on this auto pan to kind of cut out. As you can tell, the shape is kind of downward sloping, so I wanted to use it to gate our thing a little bit more and give it more shaping on the transient. So it's gonna cut down the volume at each little peak, or it's gonna cut it at each eighth note, and our pattern is on kind of eighth notes, so it should work. As you can tell, it shapes everything a lot better. The compression is to allow for sharper transients. I'm gonna turn down this, I'm gonna turn up the threshold to like -6 so it's not so aggressive. And again with this auto pan, let's turn it to like 75%. So a lot better. Anyways, there's a lot of things that I added, so I just want to go over those real quick before I move forward. Damn, I can't speak. I'm like trying to speak faster than I can think. So this is a guitar part that I added. I have all these effects on it. I'm gonna turn them off. Really, it's just a bunch of samples that I pitched around of a guitar. So this one's down 12. This is the original. Brought it down 12. And these are just samples, so if I go show in browser, this is from my sample folder that I call my archive. It has so many like different instruments and stuff, and I can get little sample chops from it. And then when you add effects to this, so I have a reverb and a ping pong delay on this, and really these samples are a little bit more funky than I wanted them to be. His Jay Lewis's electric guitar samples are usually more jazzy, but I really wanted to move forward. I couldn't really find anything too jazzy. And then this is another kind of solo that I added of an electric guitar. And it really fits well with the rest of the song. I added this choir part. It's really just a sample of a cappella. And I kind of slowed it down. And I added effects. As you can tell, there's a chorus on this. Slowed it down and everything, but Let's go ahead and turn everything back on. And then what I did is I pitched it at different ones. So this is -10 semitones. This one's up 9. And this one's up 2. So let's go ahead and listen to this together. So it sounds really weird right now, but within the context of the song, it sounds pretty good. It's kind of a nice transition, I think. So anyways, next I want to get into sound design, and we're gonna add some synthetic sounds, some synths, and I'm gonna go over 2 signature J. Lewis synths, and then we're gonna add melodies for them, most likely off camera, and then we're gonna try to finish up the song and mix it and everything and play the final product. So I just wanted to go over the sub and this new sound that I added before I go into playing the final product, because the whole song is done at this point. In terms of arrangement, I just need to mix it. But what I did with the 808 is that it's actually split into a sub sound, which I'm gonna play right now. So you need headphones to hear this, but it's just the bass of the whole sound. And then there's a harmonic part, and that is the massive sound that we made at the beginning with the saturator on it. So I kind of cut out the lows from that and then replaced that with the sub, and together they make that 808. And it's also important to note that I added 2 filters so that they would cut out the higher harmonics, which is the higher part of the sound. So without those 2 filters, the sound would sound like that, and with them we get a nice tame 808. Now the other sound that I added is a pad, so let me go ahead and solo that. And I actually really just got it from one of his songs, or I created it from one of his songs. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it. It's Let's Escape, and I'm just gonna play what the chords sound like. So as you can tell, it's basically the same exact sound. So I'm just gonna go over how I made that. It really took me about like 45 minutes or an hour to try to decode this. And it's just a super saw, but what I noticed is that there's a phaser on it to give it kind of this spacey sound. So with the phaser it sounds like this. Without it, it sounds very bland. And let me turn off all these extra effects that I have that are from Ableton. So this is with the phaser and without it. So the phaser gives it that hollowed out effect. I added an EQ to cut out the low end. Without it, it sounds like this. With it, it sounds like this. And I boosted this frequency in the center. To give it a more hollow sound. And then there's a filter that's cutting out the high part of the sound. And I mixed it down, so I put it down to like 20% or 15%. So it's very subtle. Now in terms of Ableton effects, I added a saturator. And this is just to give it fatness. You can just look at the settings right here. It's on soft sine. And then I added a phaser. These are the phaser settings. Turn it up to 6 poles. And kind of messed with all these different settings until I got something that sounded good. And then I added an EQ to kind of top everything off. This is to kind of cut off some of that upper mid range and give it I don't know how to explain, like, I just noticed that his sound had that frequency kind of missing to it. And then boosted up the really high end and again cut off the lows, and that's how you get this sound. And in terms of automation or the envelope, this envelope, I just put it on the filter cutoff, and that's all there really is to this sound. But anyways, I'm just going to play the final product. Hopefully that helped a little bit. I added a few things like some hi-hats, but nothing too major. Well, I mean, it's gonna sound pretty major because you guys haven't heard a lot of the stuff that I was doing. But if you do enjoy this video, or if you learned something, or you like the final product, then leave a like and subscribe for more. I got big things coming up for 10K subscribers, and I'm super thankful for all the support I've been having lately, and a lot more crazy stuff to come. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.